Welcome to the NGI Generation Network Conversation, a podcast brought to you by the NGI Enrichers program. After completing their fellowships in the USA and Canada, our fellows and hosts are back to share valuable insights and expertise on today's most relevant topics that are shaping the future. In today's episode, we'll explore the challenges and innovations in cybersecurity in the age of the Internet of Things. As more devices become interconnected, the need to protect data, privacy, and infrastructure has never been greater. We'll dive into how cybersecurity is evolving to meet these demands, with real-world examples and insights from experts shaping the future of secure IoT ecosystems. Now, let's hear from our guests about the latest in cybersecurity for the connected world.
Welcome everybody. We are excited to bring you this insightful discussion powered by, once again, NGI Enrichers program, a European Commission funded initiative fostering transatlantic collaboration between Europe, US and Canadian innovators. Through this fellowship, researchers and entrepreneurs have worked with leading organizations in North America that are joining us today, exchanging knowledge and shaping the future of the next generation of Internet. Today's focus is cybersecurity in the age of IoT. The Internet of Things has transformed industries from healthcare to smart cities, but it is also introduced major security risks that we are going to be discussing today. Those are data breaches, privacy concerns, and system vulnerabilities. Our NGI Enrichers fellows and host organizations have been working on cutting-edge solutions to tackle these challenges, and they are here to share their inputs. To guide today's discussion, I am pleased to introduce our moderator, which I'm going to introduce a little bit ahead, Sebastian Torre from European American Enterprise Council, from Enrich Global and Temple University. So now, also, I'm going to take just a very short couple of minutes to introduce all our speakers, and I'm going to start by Dragan Boskovic, which was a host from NGI Enrichers from Arizona State University. Allow me to say that Dragan has been quite active within NGI Enrichers. I think he already hosted 3 of our fellows. So this is also a 1+ reason for this invitation. Dragan Boskovic is an expert in digital asset management, blockchain, and AI-driven cybersecurity. He directs ASU Blockchain Research Lab and is an associate director of the Center for AI and Data Analytics. As a clinical professor at ASU, he focuses on data engineering and trustless information systems. Now, I'm going to present Gil Zuzman, host from the Columbia University, which have been also hosting several of our fellows. And a short introduction on Gil. Would like to say that he is a professor of electrical engineering at Columbia University and a member of the Data Science Institute. His research focuses mostly on networking, particularly wireless, mobile, and resilience networks. He has served as an editor for major IEE journals and chaired top networking conferences. Sussman has received numerous awards, including NSF Career Award and IEE Fellowship. He was also a PI of winning team of the 2029 Vodafone Wireless Innovation Project competition. We also have in our panel of speakers today Obing Song, which is a host since the first day of NGI Enrichers. He comes from University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and is an associate professor specializing in cyber physical systems, cybersecurity, AI, machine learning. He directs the Song Lab on University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and leads research initiatives in aviation, big data, and transportation cybersecurity. His work is funded by agencies like NSF and DOT. He serves as an associate director for several IEEE journals. Besides, Song holds a PhD in electrical engineering from University of Virginia. Also with us today we have Ihor Makushinsky. He was a fellow on NGI Enrichers from the second call of fellows, and is CEO of Lawyered LLC. We would like to present a little bit. As I was mentioning, Ihor is a legal startup focused on digital transformation and brand protection using Web3 and blockchain. He mentors aspiring entrepreneurs at tech startups and has over 7 years of experience as intellectual property specialist at Plarium. Ihor holds several certifications in business development, compliance, and advocacy. Besides, he is specialized in strategic planning, compliance, and IT management. I believe all the introductions are done. So we will having soon Sebastian Torre joining us for this session and webinar, and he will be the moderator of the present webinar. Meanwhile, since we already did the presentations, I would like to kickstart with the first question of this discussion by focus a little bit on the expanding IoT landscape and its cybersecurity challenges. So what I would like to know as a first question is how has the rapid expansion of IoT devices changed the cybersecurity landscape? This is a general question, and I would like to hear your opinions on this. I see that Gil, you are muted. So if you want to take,
I can still. Okay, so I'll try to connect it to stuff that has been done within the NGIs. So first of all, thank you for supporting all these NGI fellows or explorers or enrichers. So there have been a few generations, and it's been really great project. And several of them have been working in this domain. So at least in our side, there are two aspects to it. We have a center focusing on smart cities or smart streetscapes. In that domain, there are devices all over the place that sense what's going on, that process things at the edge, and eventually make or help make decisions. Once all those devices are out there, there are a lot of vulnerabilities in terms of privacy and a lot of vulnerabilities in terms of actuating. If you are going to control traffic lights or if you are going to guide people through the city, and these devices are now vulnerable, there are a lot of issues. The other aspect on which fellows have worked was more on the side of the power grid. So, of course, measurement devices have been in the power grid forever, but things are now being much more connected, much more distributed. Once they are connected and distributed, they are also vulnerable. And they have been thinking about, what happens if you hack some of those measurement devices and how you can impact the actual grid by changing measurements in some points. So I think these are two examples of the penetration of devices or IoT type of devices everywhere, more or less. And then once they are everywhere, they are also useful, but they are also vulnerable.
Gil, many thanks. I know that we have a lawyer here, so I would, if Ihor would like to provide some inputs to what Gil just mentioned, and we can follow up from there, obviously.
Yeah, great. So thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to have this conversation and to share our thoughts around cybersecurity and IoT. So yeah, it's I think this is the smart move to start with the regulation, because we have different countries and we have pretty the same devices, but different regulations. And this is one of the main thing that need to be discussed. In some countries, like in Europe, we have not in all countries, but in Central Europe, we have pretty sophisticated legislation around IoT and privacy and data sharing that could be transferred, that could be collected and after used by like different bodies. And this is one thing. And another thing that I would like to discuss further, that after we have this regulation, it's the practice part. So after we have the leak or we have the problem with cybersecurity, it's part to find out like the particular violation and to eliminate it. So in Lawyer, like last 10 years, we are doing the practical part. We are trying to find out violations in different spheres as soon as possible, and after that, to eliminate them in a fast way. So this is what we will bring today to the table. And thanks for having me here.
You're most welcome. We look forward to hear your input. I know that Hoping Song, which I didn't see for a long time and have been often with us in NGI Enrichers, also works on cybersecurity, and I'm sure I would like to hear your comments, Obi.
Thank you for having me here. Also, thank you for the supporting our work, by the NGI programs. So in fact, in the past, I think at least 10 more years, I observed several, the changes, in the field of Internet of Things. So for the IoT, I think, the originally it's just, the cyber infrastructure for the smart cities and, the other, like cyber physical systems. Over the years, I think, this is kind of narrow. So now, in fact, now, in addition to IoT, so we are seeing, IoT, it's a part of the AI ecosystem. So in fact, for the AI, we think it's, the programmed capability to processing information. The first capability is perceive. It's IoT sensing. So we sensing, perceive, the rich information from the within the environment. So after that, I think, with the IoT, after that we have, the machine learning. So we learn something, from the data. After that, learning is not enough. Sometimes, some information we get, from the machine learning, we can't use it directly. So we need an abstract. We need to, get the new, create new meanings from the information. After that, I think, that we need the reason. We need to plan. We need to decide to make a decision based on the abstract. So I think, the IoT just, it's very basic. It's a foundation for the AI ecosystem. So this is, my first observation. The second one is for the IoT, now we identified a lot of, the cybersecurity challenges there. But here, in fact, the AI could be used to, promote, the enhance the cybersecurity in IoT. So in fact, now also, we could, detect, the cybersecurity risks in IoT, as quickly as possible after they occur. So this is very important. So in fact, now I think that based on my NGI work, I have recently did something new. The first one is in collaboration with my NGI fellows. So I have created, established a new working group within HRE IoT technical community. This working group is called HRE Trustworthy IoT Working Group. We started last year. The founding members, it's myself and my NGI fellows. There are initiative I just started last year. It's since when I hosted my first NGI fellow, the one reason is I was the editor of Smart Cities, the book published by the Security Press. In fact, last year they approached me again. They asked me, they said, now you could, write something new. So they proposed the AI for cybersecurity. So definitely, the cybersecurity in IoT, it's one topic of, this book. So this book will be published this year. So I think this is my second observation. I see, in the IoT, something changed in the past 7 years. Thank you.
Obin, thank you so much. Always lovely to hear it from you. Juan, I will pass the word to you. Please kick on, and then Sebastian will join us.
Yes, perfect for me. So basically, I have a real question that I think is very important right now. That is that what lessons can we learn from past high-profile IoT security branches? And I think Dragon, that is not speaker at the moment, can answer that question perfectly. Please, Dragon.
Thank you. And I would like to really echo the other speakers and commend you for good work. I would like also to say that I was involved also with Explorers for a few years. That was really rewarding. Now I'm continuing with Enrichers, and I'm looking forward to having even stronger cooperation with this initiative. So thank you very much. I like to start by really setting some context because we are speaking about cybersecurity for IoT, and cybersecurity as such is not new topic, but I think when we look into the intersection of the cybersecurity and IoT, we cannot definitely just replicate those cybersecurity measures that we are applying to the centralized IT infrastructure, okay, or even decentralized IT infrastructure, because IoT has its own characteristics, okay, and it is very heterogeneous in the sense that we have devices with very different processing capabilities, communication capabilities, different protocols. Then there are, as I said, very resource constrained. So it means that we cannot expect them to do or to protect themselves in the same way as we would do that with our PCs or servers. And I think there is also one major issue, and that is interoperability. Even if we were to combine the resources across, let's say, family or of IoT devices, that won't be necessarily very easy because, as I said, there are communication and interoperability issues. So for us to discuss what is really applicable or what are those specific cybersecurity applications or the methods that we can apply in the context of IoT, we should definitely bear in mind those constraints. And this is now I think helped with what other speakers mentioned, that we really have new applications, or IoT devices are nowadays very prevalent. They are, and almost everything is basically connected. I would just give you an example. A few years back, when I worked with one of the service providers here in USA, they were providing the secure computing to the financial applications. However, each of those servers basically was tapped into the UPC, that is power control, which at the same time was networked. And what they found eventually, that cyber security attacks were coming through the UPC devices. They went into the great length to secure the access to the server, but at the same time, UPC were not really treated the same way. So there was a few security breaches before they figured out that UPC, that you can consider to be an IoT device, is also very important component in that overall ecosystem. Okay, so I would stop there, and if you have any follow-up questions, or you might go to the next one.
Dragan, many thanks. I will now pass the words to our moderator, which is already here with us. Sebastian, if you want to follow up from here, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I couldn't really make it exactly on time. It's 8 a.m. here on the West Coast. But I could listen to everything, and thank you for playing moderator and doing the whole intro. Thank you all. I know a lot of you guys. I've been working with some of you. Definitely EOR has been working with us. I see you have different background. So we talk about IoT, but not everybody is really touching IoT like EOR. It's not really not directly in that space, but can talk about it because you're all experts, and you've been you have at the end a lot of experience. But I know that EOR was really more specialized in IP protection and using a lot of AI and blockchain for that. So AI came back in the discussion. That's interesting because what happened between NGI and Enrichers is that we've been in the middle of the revolution of AI. And it's not a little thing, just to mention it. You saw the AI summit that just happened in France. They put that they pulled that out of really thin air, like in a month, and everybody got super excited. And yes, it's really what's in everybody's mind and conversations. There was a little mention here about AI and how it's a revolution. Is definitely going to be helping everyone in all processes, but it's also creating a threat. And I love to hear what is the threat we are talking about, because I think there is people who know, people who don't know, people who just fear. Definitely when you add IoT and enterprise a solution that creates multiple layers of risk that were mentioned in the conversation. But what about AI? Does that create a threat? I would love to hear you guys talking about it. And then we can pursue the conversation. I changed a little the initial topic because it's really happening, and everybody talks about it. And let's see what you have to say. And that will probably influence probably the next NGI, where everything's going to be how do you apply AI How do you use LLM? How does that help me? Can we put an LLM at the level of the IoT? We heard a lot about compressed LLM. We heard about distributed LLM. So we want to hear about what you have to say about that, and whoever would like to start answering.
So let me start answering those questions. I think it is definitely an interesting topic and is of strong interest to me. I'm already touching on the topic of distributed LLMs with one of the NGI Enrichers that is with me right now. So let me just go one step back and acknowledge that basically IoT nowadays finds itself in many critical operational flows. So I think we need to understand the context of those applications in the AI is used. So and especially if AI is involved in controlling some real-time operations or life-critical applications, then these security concerns are really amplified many times over. So how AI then helps or does it bring the additional attack surface? It does, but it also helps. So let's discuss first what is good or what are good aspects. Okay, so with AI, I feel we need to basically use that in order to make sure that we can detect some of the anomalies in the behavior and operations of those IoT devices. I think generally we need to monitor those critical operational flows, and if there is any kind of a warning or the red flag, we need to then go deeper and see which one of the many IoT devices that might be involved in that is really responsible for, okay? So in that context, I think it is important to have a unique identity associated with each of the IoT devices. Again, we are talking about cybersecurity here, so we need to come up with methods of assigning and monitoring those identities in a way that we have full confidence that whoever is basically, let's say, signing specific transactions or specific batch of data is really the device that we know of and we understand its operations in that workflow. Okay, so in that respect, I really feel that having a device ID management is essential for any cybersecurity aspects of the IoT ecosystem. Okay, and we can, and each of those topics is so wide that we can have separate webcasts for each of them. So I won't go very deep into those. But then when you ask Sebastian what might be the bad aspects of the AI and how that might even introduce additional attack surface into this domain of IoT, I see multiple aspects, but I just mentioned one that I feel is very interesting. Okay, so, and you mentioned LLMs, so I can imagine a scenario in which, let's say, I have very complex ecosystem of IoT devices that is not easily to service remotely. For that reason, I might have a local LLM that is running on one of those more capable devices that is going to monitor the collective behavior, okay, but also to have all other information on the technical manuals and anything else that is important for someone who is going to go and service that equipment if there is either normal service date or if there is some kind of emergency. So having a local LLM that is going to guide human through repairing or servicing complex installation of IoT devices is one of those scenarios where I can see AI potentially either misleading or hallucinating or being just a bad player that might make things worse than it was to start with. Okay, and I'll stop there.
Yeah, Dragan, thank you so much for your input. Excellent. I noticed that Gil and Ihor also would like to provide some comments. So, who wants to come first, please? Come on. Since we started by Gil, Ihor, please, you can provide.
Cool. Yeah, just my 5 cents about cybersecurity threats that like started with AI interventions. So we had several cases on practice, and I would like to share with you some of them and how we handle them. First of all, it's automated Google Ads agents that starts campaign on behalf of big brands and try to get the personal data and bank data from different users. So the AI created automatically Google Ads and like start advertising on the first place on the top. After that, people click there and see the like the site that is super similar to the brand that AI acting on behalf of. And after that, they click on the link or they add some data to log in, and they lose their data. This is one thing. Another thing that right now we have lots of cases with AI agents in social media. Usually it's like AI bots that trying to catch the attention of users through the links and some information. So we see lots of cases in Telegram groups where like usually first 5-6 like users that sharing some information or thought about different posts, they are like AI agents that trying to catch attention for users and click on the different links to get the information. This is like the second super active thing right now. The same stuff on Twitter also and Facebook. And what we are doing with that, we are usually using community-driven brand protection for different brands and individuals that helps like usual average users to catch the particular like violation, breach, leaks, everything else, different examples, and to share it with us. And we share immediately with the brand. So this is how we work. So we create the community around like security and brand protection and protection from AI cases. And yeah, this is how we work. After that, the usual cases, like for lawyers, we find out the source of violation, find out the middleman hosting provider, reach out, eliminate scams and fakes. Yeah, so this is our like personal cases that we had. And yeah, if someone wants to discuss them further, it would be a pleasure for me to have the discussions. And
I wanted to add for you, because you are the specialist in the room for blockchain. AI definitely will definitely help the use of blockchain. It's a natural fit, so it's good that you're here in the room. I think the distributed use of AI, so IoT being an example, but like I just mentioned earlier, or DeepSeek is another example of distributed usage, just using CPUs. Create another layer, I think, of threat or risk. And I think with blockchain, there is a way to track or trace. And that's where maybe sometimes it will be many situations after the fact, but definitely, so identifying the device, like Dragan was explaining, but also identifying the flow of data, qualifying or filtering the fake data or the intrusive data. I think you have a market that's just going to be booming. So I think you're totally relevant here in the conversation, and I think you're going to have more business than just on the branding side. I think you just gave a few examples, and you're going to have more and more examples with some IoT application where you'll see a fit for you guys. So I just wanted to give my 2 cents, and we can have Gilles, for example, or Rubing maybe add on those elements.
So thank you. I'll jump in. I'll pivot to a topic that is somewhat relevant also, I think, is really benefiting from the AI or learning in general. So as I said, initially, part of our work was about attacks on power grids, where the measurement devices, the PMUs, or the communication from them to the control centers is being hacked. The NGI Explorers worked, we had a project in collaboration with Siemens, and this relates to actually the 2 recent questions, right? One of them is getting data from real events, especially in the context of power grid attacks, is very, very difficult. Even getting the topology of some of these grids is very difficult from the utilities. So we worked with a utility in Colorado, we had topology, but nobody will really give you information about previous attacks to a research that is being done in a university. So that was item number 1. The second aspect is we had to, in some sense, generate our own attack models, and we had to generate real, good scenarios in some sense, scenarios where the network behaves as it should behave. And then we actually managed to show that, both special signal processing tools, which some people would call by now machine learning, and machine learning tools can identify the attacks. So these are attacks that happen slowly in some sense. Initially, everything behaves correctly, but the attacker modifies the communication between the substations and the control center, and somehow the substations, for example, consume more power than they are supposed to, reporting that they are consuming, and eventually the entire grid fails. And if you apply machine learning techniques to sense whatever you are getting and try to identify anomalies, we have shown, there is a couple of papers where we have shown that you could do that. Of course, this is unlike, with security cameras or whatever IoT devices, it is very difficult to experiment here. So this is all simulation and theory, but that's where I think benefiting from machine learning tools or AI type of tools might be very helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
So can I add something?
Yeah.
Okay.
You should.
Okay. I think for the AI, AI can be classified into 3 waves. Currently, it's a second wave. It's the deep learning is very hot. So we create the statistical models, and then we train these models by using the big data from the IoT. So this is the basic, the mechanism here. But I think, for the statistical learning, deep learning here, it's that we encounter several problems here. The first one is the robustness. For the IoT, sometimes we have the adversarial perturbations. Sometimes we have, the environmental perturbations. The result is, not, as what we expected. The second problem is explainability. So, sometimes for the IoT operations, for the IoT, the functions, we couldn't explain why, we got a result like this, why we got a result like that. The third one, I think it's generalizability. So, if we change the IoT device, we get, the different, the IoT data. Probably, the result, it's not, the transferable. We couldn't generalize it to other, IoT tasks, IoT, the functions, such like that. I think, for the now, to overcome these problems, probably we need something new, the new paradigm. It's like, I believe, to, overcome this problem, we need the contextual explainable models for the real world IoT scenarios. So here, it can, enhance, the explainability, robustness, and, the generalization. I think, how to achieve this. I think, probably, the deep learning is not enough. Neural network is not enough. Probably we could, integrate the neural networks with symbolic representation. In this way, probably we could integrate the strengths in the first wave of AI and the second wave of AI to benefit IoT. So this is my 2 cents. Thank you.
So we move from IoT Edge to Edge AI. That was a natural thing. We are in a spirit of collaboration here with NGI. It's not we facilitate, we promote, we foster collaboration. It starts with our host and universities receiving our fellows, but also it push also the different ecosystem to work together, and kind of open that discussion about how at the end to make it work and to have realistic expectation, which means going back to what was being said about feasibility and applicability. You probably trying to push a solution at the enterprise level to the corporates around you. That was also explained by Dragan. How is that working for you? And is there more to do? So that starts with relationship with corporates to really embrace the work of research. We are in an interesting time where research becomes lesser value in the eyes of a new government, but I think it's a temporary situation. So now you have to work better, stronger with in the institutions, again, government, but also work better because of that with corporates, work better with your ecosystem, stakeholders around you, all the way to the founders. So any relationship with investment groups, any P3 relationship, public-private partnership that you think are relevant to help you sustain your activity and really look at applicability. We'd love to hear about that because we're going to end that conversation. We talk about, okay, and the relationship between Europe and US. Are we in a crossroad? Are we in a period where definitely it's even more valuable? And where do you see the NGI Enricher really going, and where you think that we should really enhance and so any advice, any directions? For some of you have a lot of experience in that exercise with NGI Explorer, NGI Enrichers. So let's talk about collaboration at your level, at the ecosystem level, and transatlantic. Whoever would like to take the conversation.
I can start because I raised my hand. So I think I can give a few examples starting from NGI Explorers. We had basically a visitor from France, from a startup company that works on smart cities. He came to New York City because New York City is a big city where they want to experiment. And we have a lot of activities around smart cities over here that got them some exposure actually with New York City government. This is a city of 9 million people. It's, it's the size of some of the European countries, if you think about it. And this opened some doors for them, not just from the research side, but also for their company to expand. This later on became an NGI Atlantic project. So that actually expanded to a real project where they got some funding and we got some funding from the NSF. There was a matching mechanism. So both sides got some funding to actually work together. And now they are partners in an engineering research center here, which is a $26 million NSF type of grant. So that was really a good story from a person coming to visit to eventually the company becoming part of an NSF center, although it's a European company. Again, there might be issues going forward, but at least in the current, until a few weeks ago, this was the situation. So that's one, I would say, on the industry side. We had people coming here more on the academic side, but I think they benefited either from the testbed that we have here, which is the Cosmos testbed, or, for example, as I mentioned earlier, the collaboration with Siemens, which is a company that is in the US and part of DOE and DARPA projects. You could work with them, and they went back to the US. To one of them went back to Israel, and I'm actually now a co-advisor of that visitor in Tel Aviv University. So this became again a long-term relationship beyond just the few months of a visit. So I think these really initiate, in many cases, much more significant achievements, both for the students, but also for us here at Columbia University, allowing us to create collaborations with Europe. And I consider Israel as part of Europe because it's part of the program.
Important data, what you're saying about NSF. On our end, in the Mid-Atlantic area, we just going through the NSF engine exercise. For some of you, you know well. And we always trying to see a fit for the companies that are participating or already collaborating with the different universities that are part of that consortium. We also try to add some technologies, companies that have a presence in the US, but could be international like Europeans, when we see definitely a fit with the project, not just to push the EU collaboration because it's off topic in that case, but we always look at the synergies. And I think that also oblige the different participants at the university level and ecosystem level to think outside of the box, like you did, and to look at different ways of matching funding and deep understanding the different layers of collaboration. So I think that's definitely a very good example you're giving. So anybody has the same type of example and how that did help or how we can do better in facilitating not only the ESU collaboration, which will be the end of the topic here, but also just opening the mind of everyone on what can happen when you put your minds into this type of open discussions and evaluate collaboration, which is not always easy. Here we talk about universities. We know that you have multiple layers. There's a lot of silo conversations, but we've seen that NGI and similar initiatives have really helped organizations like universities, think outside the box, and that led to a lot of amazing things. I think you gave a perfect example. Anybody else?
Well, I can contribute to this topic, Sebastian. So I have basically two examples that might be used as use cases of a successful project. One was I had a guy from Italy last year, and the topic was the cybersecurity as applied to smart contract assessment. So we did some investigations. He stayed for 3 months. We also looked into the opportunity to do the self-repair of smart contracts. So to make long story short, it was very interesting, innovative approach, but he stayed relatively short in order to make an impact. Okay, and then what has happened this year, the guy who was applying, he saw the work, so he is basically picking up where the first guy left. Okay, that is very interesting approach. So I have now really an entrepreneur who is interested to exploit the idea, build on that, and make business from that approach. We have, or I have allocated some of the resources on my end to help him really advance that. Approaching few VCs here in the Southwest, and I think I can report that there is interest. Okay, so that is one good example that maybe we should think about having some kind of continuity between different enrichers that are visiting and having them more or less cooperate on European side once the idea is completed. The second approach is I had different visitor who came with a half-baked product, and basically the idea was not so much on developing the idea itself. It was more let's find the use cases based on some of the local problems here in Phoenix. So I was able to introduce him to some initiatives that we can call them smart cities, but it was all about how I can improve the flow of the approvals within city administrations in order to speed up certain operations. Okay, so he went back. He is in negotiations with few cities now in the Phoenix area, and again, I feel each of those enrichers will bring something that is unique for them. So we need to really tailor approach on our side that will benefit them most. Okay, one aspect or the comment that I wanted to make, sometimes they might need more resources than just support of their stay. Okay, sometimes they would need to access some of the services. Sometimes they might need to license some of the technologies or the IPs that will make things going. So I'm not sure what are the plans of next stage of Enrichers, but some of those additional considerations should be taken into account to make their stay more impactful. Okay.
Well, there is a service for that. It's still under Enrichers. It was spin out from the Enrich in the USA initiative. And so there is a possibility for the ones that want to commercialize to go back to the team. It's a team inside the team to think about commercialization, which I think you participated in that exercise, just to go a little beyond just collaboration. Not always a fit because we talk about early stage initiative, but for some of them it really helped. So we give all extra layers of services. What I see also is a collaboration between universities that's kind of pushed more of that trend. You're all part of a culture of collaboration, openness, and trying to figure out you can work with the startup and probably corporates. So I think you talked about the enrichers. I think the host as enrichers should have ways to talk more between each other. And that's how it led, in fact, to some of the when we wrote the NSF engine and when we brought up some of the other universities on the East Coast, it was also under that umbrella or that concept. Universities that people have been working with, that because we saw them working with European project or other initiative. What's interesting, the result or the conclusion is that it was easier for university to work between each other than it worked with, inside their organization, inside the universities. A lot of work in silo that were uncovered and solved by that collaboration between universities. So that's, I think, a point is to have definitely to build a strong network of the NGI Enrichers, and which is the output of NGI Explorers, and start working on that collaboration to be even stronger when other initiative of this sort happens, or US initiatives. So that's just what I wanted to add. And I will leave also the answer to our third participant that we let me go back to sorry. And if maybe Yubing would like to add anything. And the conclusion I would like to have from all of you is maybe for last sentence, and obviously Ior, I would like to also explain what you feel about all that. But the conclusion is definitely on the US-EU collaboration. Any good advice that we can take, get prepared for maybe the next program. And we live an exciting time because of AI applicable to AGI in that particular conversation. There's so much more to do, and it's really exciting, and I'm sure you feel the same. And so hopefully the rest going to follow. We're going to have the right environment for collaboration. So Hubing, maybe you want to add anything?
Yes, I think the next step probably, I think our topic could be, the updated, to reflect, our current technology trends. So I think the IoT it's narrow. Probably we could, think about the broad AI ecosystem. So also, I think that another the point I want to mention is just like we need the industry university collaboration. I think now for the US part, the US National Science Foundation has a AUCRC program, industry university cooperative research center. I think that probably in the future we could think about is it possible to establish the ecosystem, the US EU, the industry, university, cooperative research center, such like that. This will be, it's a big jump, beyond, the NGI Enricher. So we could think about this, I think. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ming. Dior?
Yeah, I want to thank for this initiative, and I would like to continue cooperate and to see more programs like this. I strongly believe that cooperation between different jurisdiction, different legislation, and different organizations, like between different regions, will help to strengthen the security and help not only big corporate bodies, but also just general users to be protected. And yeah, this is what we have. I think that main thing that I would like to see in the future, that program would be more concentrated on a real case situation and have this real task to do all together. So yeah, thanks a lot again, and we'll keep connected, and in Lawyer team will support all the initiatives that you started. Thank you, guys.
I'll also say a few words just before I need to drop, but thank you again for organizing it. And I think going forward, if we can enhance it, I think one thing that disappeared along the years was the NSF support for NGI Atlantic from the NSF side. So as I said before, we started by the fellows coming over, but then you can expand it to a project. There were a few years where NSF supported it from the US side. This somehow disappeared. So I think we can in future get better collaboration between the organizations that support this, both on the US and the European side. That would be great. And I think that's just if we can retain the level of collaboration that we have right now in the current atmosphere, even that would be great.
Exactly. So he didn't disappear, but it was kind of informal. There was some exercise where he went through, and it did happen. And there was a big push from the EU to kind of reiterate or build a stronger relationship, but it's not always easy, where interests are not the same. We can come with nice words of openness, collaboration, but at the end, we all have our interests, and the programs are not the exact fit, so there's more work to be done. It was the same topic with NIH, so I think it's meant to come back, and hopefully with all of us, giving real business cases to NSF. Maybe the timing is a little off the last few weeks, but I think we have to be strong believers, because we know we do it for the right reason. And I think Ihor said it simply, it's like at the end, it's about helping people. If there is a threat, if there is any security issues that should be addressed, let's address it together. So I leave the floor now to Andre and Juan.
Sebastian, many thanks. Juan, I leave it to you if you want to make any final remark. In my case, I can all say that it was a pleasure to see you all once again. We are going to have a third round of this webinar, probably within 2-3 months. So feel free also to join. You might be invited for the next. The moderator will be Sebastian with Blandin once again. So Sebastian, I launched here already the invitation for the next one. Hope to be accepted. Yeah. And meanwhile, it's a pleasure for us to be discussing NGI Enrichers now and what's going to be in the future, because eventually we are going to have another project to follow up on the next year.
Thank you, and see you on the next episode. Follow us on our social media and stay tuned to our website to discover the new features of the NGI Enrichers program.